This is a collaborative discussion amongst three friends.
You are a bandwagon Swiftie.
Wow.
LaCroix.
How have you never had a Choco Taco?
Well, I don't know what a Choco Taco is.
Do you do MMA? Because you're really wide.
So tell me, what's in your beverage center?
You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, my eye twitch isn't bad right now.
Let's talk about the process. How are we going to help you obtain the best home at the best possible price, terms, and conditions that we can?
Rapid reaction, new intro, rate it.
8.
8? John, we have a guest on. John, what's your rating?
Comments.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Okay. I give it a 9-1. Pretty good job. Nice job, Nate.
Thank you.
That was a great intro.
I can't rate my own, but
You can't, no.
I would give it a 9.
Welcome to Shootin The SHT, Real Banter with Nick and JT from the Slocum home team, brought to you by our amazing sponsor, Shore & Bank. Welcome to the pod, episode number 20. New intro. Super excited about that. Nice job, Nate.
Thank you, sir.
Great job.
I got a couple more things ready.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, I like those.
Do you have a lot more? Are you going to release?
I have a couple more. I'm going to trickle it.
Save
I'm
them.
going to trickle it.
That's perfect.
So
Have some patience.
I will.
I was a little thrown. Like, I almost didn't know how to start the podcast without the ding, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner. But overall, I like it. It follows the theme of the pod, which is usually I say something and then just get a right hook from Nick for it. So,
please.
very fitting.
I like you're playing the victim right off the bat.
Honestly, you just can't let it go, can you?
It's okay. It's okay. I think we leaned into some of the recurring jokes that we have on the podcast. Yeah.
Nice work.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
I think that's what we were talking about. Would you rather do a one-person play of the Christmas Carol?
That's
Nate.
a tiny tip.
That's my tiny tip.
Tiny tip.
I love it.
Nate,
Awesome. Nice
happy
work.
birthday, buddy.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Was it a big number? What was it, 29?
32.
Youngest man. Now, how do you feel about birthdays, Nate? Are you one of those, like, I have to have everyone stop their entire lives for my birthday and I'm going to celebrate it for an entire month? Or are you kind of low-key on your birthday? What is your stance there?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm definitely not fussy about it.
Okay.
I prefer to have something low-key. My wife usually wants to plan some type of event, and I just kind of go along with it, but
Okay.
definitely don't celebrate for a full month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that an honest assessment or just kind of
Absolutely.
once? Okay.
Yeah. No. She asked me this year what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I told her, I don't know. Maybe we'll just stay home and just hang out, maybe go see a movie. And she was like, we can't just stay home on it's my 32nd birthday. It's not a very momentous birthday, in my opinion. But so we went away to the Berkshires, to Lenox. I don't know if you guys ever been out there, Lenox, Mass. Great Barrington. We saw a Gilded Age mansion out there that belonged to J.P. Morgan's sister, so that was pretty cool. Stopped in some shops, had some nice dinners, and we both did a little bit of writing, a lot of reading. It was very relaxing. There was a library lounge and a cocktail bar. And it was a good time.
That sounds lovely. So, JT, we got two Johns there, so I'm going to go by JT and John today, just for clarification.
Thank you.
You had the upcoming April challenge on the intro, and I know John is one of our team captains. So
Sure is.
let's break that down. Tell me about the April challenge.
So we're going to do a challenge, dividing our agents into 4 teams. We have 4 captains. John is going to be one of them. We have the snake draft today at 1:30. Where the teams will be selected. And it's to set our agents up for a successful April. But April's really going to be about the activities to kickstart things, really setting up a successful spring, summer, and remainder of 25 by starting with dials, conversations, appointments, open houses, door knocking, doing the activities that lead to appointments, under contracts, and closings. Each thing will be given a point value. The team with the most points will win.
Fantastic. I love it. Now, John, are you familiar with how a snake draft works?
No, I was just explaining that yesterday.
Okay, so you got it explained to you yesterday?
Yeah.
All right, so which pick would you want? Would you want the first pick where you don't pick again until 8? Or would you want the 4th pick where you have back-to-back 4 and 5?
I was thinking the third spot.
Third spot? It's a
Yeah.
good spot.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. John, tell us about yourself. Where have you been? How did we get here?
Who is John Fracasso?
Yes.
Oh God, just trying
What's
to.
your life story?
Yeah, no. God, yeah, no. What have I been doing? Just trying to hustle lately. What is that? I came over here in July.
July. It was right after July 4th, I believe, last year.
Yeah. after a little bit of going back and forth and talking about making the move. And
Yeah. How about before that, John, from Connecticut to Colorado to Rhode Island?
We had a career night one night. Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah.
And John Fracasso was the lone attendee.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
oh, that's right, I was. I forgot about that.
That was a little off at first, but we made it work. So
Yeah.
It was a good time.
yeah, absolutely. All right, so you're from Colorado,
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
You went to Colorado.
Colorado, then Maryland, and came up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Born in Connecticut. Where in Connecticut?
Right outside of Yukon, a little town called Coventry.
Okay.
So maybe about 15 minutes or so outside of Gamble Pavilion.
Okay. Nice.
So-
and you went down to
Denver.
Then
Denver,
over to Colorado.
over to Denver. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. How
Yeah.
long were you in Denver for?
4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Fun story. Yeah, like I ended up going there for a $100 bet.
Over $100 bet. Let's hear that one.
Had some friends of mine that moved out there after they got settled after a year or so. We went out, me and a friend went to visit. They said, I bet you $100 that you won't be here in about 2 years. And a year and a half later, I was on a cross-country trip.
I love it.
Solid.
Just went, yep, I just called them up in the middle of the night one night and said, hey, I can be there in 3 weeks.
That's fantastic. Now, what years were this?
Oh, God, I don't do years. I have no
How
idea.
old were you?
Early 20s, I think.
All right, that's the time to do it.
Cool. Then you went to Maryland.
Yeah.
What took you to Maryland?
The cost of living in Colorado things were getting crazy over there.
Okay.
So what was it? They just legalized weed out there.
Okay.
So there was about, I think it was 3,000 people a month were moving into the metro area. So real estate was skyrocketing. Cost of living overall was going through the roof. So me and my roommates at the time said, all right, let's go somewhere cheaper. And we thought that was Maryland and go to Annapolis.
Okay.
Not the case.
Not the case?
No.
Nope.
What'd you think of Maryland?
It's a place.
It's a place.
It led to Rhode Island.
Yeah, I was there for about 11 months
Okay.
and then said, that's enough of that.
Okay.
And ended up here.
Awesome.
So what led to Rhode Island as opposed to back to Connecticut?
I was actually thinking about Tennessee,
Okay. Nashville.
Tennessee.
Chattanooga.
Tennessee.
So I thought about going over there.
Let him
No
talk.
place I'd rather be.
I can mute him.
Yeah, I was kind of going back and forth in between the two, and I said, let's go back to New England. You know, it's still an arm's length away from Connecticut, and and just kind of keep that little bit of separation, but close enough where I can still visit.
Cool.
No one's going to show up at my door unsurprised.
That's nice.
So here we are, like 10 years later.
So what led you to real estate?
Oh God, all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong reasons. Yeah.
This
But
was a
what-
$200 bet.
What were those wrong reasons?
Oh, it was one of those. I can get my real estate license and I can go to whatever state I want. Because it's all transferable. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You got the nights, weekends, and holidays off.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that totally makes
Yeah.
sense. And you make
We never work nights,
was-
weekends, or holidays.
That's the opposite.
and you make a shit ton of money with doing minimal work.
Also not the case, right?
Yeah, no, all lies.
Now you were bartending before that, right?
Yeah, and between I was mostly, back of house and front of house. Yeah.
Awesome.
I love when realtors say, I want to make my own schedule. I always come back to them and say, that's no problem at all. You can pick any 80 hours of the week that you want to work. Not a problem at all. You know?
Yeah. And then it was, I want to say after I got my license, I was driving around with someone. They were doing some showings with me. Or they were doing showings. I was tagging along and was like, oh, I can get used to this.
Yeah.
I can get used to the hustle, the bustle, and just not keeping busy. So it's, got into it for the wrong reasons and fell in love with it because of what it is. And here we are. When did I get licensed? 2016, I think I got licensed.
Nice.
All right.
Love it. Coming up on 10 years.
Yeah.
It's great. A little party for you.
Any excuse for a party. All right. So John, you're here doing great. But not only are you good at sales, but you're good at, and I would say you seem to have a passion for sharing your experiences, your knowledge. You need a minute?
I'm good. I was wondering if you had tissues around. I had a little bit of a stuffy nose for a second.
It's never ending. His nose is always stuffy.
Last podcast, he was looking for a tissue.
Yeah. And
You
every
took over my
podcast
office.
before
You
that.
ruined it.
I ruined it.
You ruined my office.
All
I
right.
mean, it's scattered.
Can
it's
we let John
fragmented.
talk? Yeah, because I'm storing all your I have my stuff and your stuff.
Look
in
at that
here.
chair over there. It's ridiculous. Can you clean the once? Look, my plant's dying. My plant is dying.
I have my Jacob's.
Fellas.
Jacob's supposed to water that.
You're
We have a
storing all
guest.
the you don't have any tissues.
No, he probably took those with him. But I'm storing all your because you took one for the team. You moved into a closet, and I have all your crap here for now. But anyways, I'm trying to talk to John.
Okay.
So John, in addition to being great at real estate sales, you are good at and seem to have a passion for sharing that knowledge and wisdom with other agents. Tell us a little bit about that.
My last place, I was mentoring a good amount of agents. I think it kind of rotated, but I had like a core group of 3 or 4, and I had up to 9 at any given point in time. So now that we have just rolled out the mentorship program, it's one of those awesome. Let's grab one of these newbies, and show them what's what.
Love that.
I love it.
I like your hands-on approach too. How you bring them to showings, find these vacant listings, kind of point out things. It's great. I love that. It's fantastic.
Well, and the vacant listings, you take your time, and it's one of those, I like to use that as almost like a benchmark. It's one of those, all right, first showing of you putting on the real, your realtor cap. Tell me what's wrong with the house, not just cosmetics, and let's start breaking it down from there.
That's great. Love that.
Yeah.
John, what drew you to Slocum out of curiosity?
The community aspect,
Nice. Love that.
in the office culture.
Cool.
It was more family centric. It was also getting out into the community. It's not only what the company per se can do for me, what can I do and reciprocate to the community that I serve.
Love that.
Has it lived up to that for you?
Yeah, I was going to say back in October it was the pumpkins, and that. What was it? 3 every weekend for a couple weekends.
Oh,
You were the MVP.
I was just gonna say he was the real MVP of pumpkins.
He sure was. Yeah.
Did every single farm.
That Jeep was so handy. And
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't guarantee about next year or this year, but
what's the reason for that? Just your schedule or the Jeep?
oh, not a schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that took up.
Yeah, a lot of time.
Yeah, it was a good time though.
I need to get a new car with a trailer hitch, but I'm not sure it's going to happen before October, so we'll see.
Why not?
I don't know. I usually trade in my cars around 50,000 miles. I got 36,000 right now because then I need to do a lot of work. I got to start replacing tires and brakes and all that. So usually I just kind of get ahead of that. But I got like 15,000 miles to go.
So I think it is if you go down to U-Haul, it's maybe a couple $100 and they'll put their trailer hitch on.
Okay.
And that's a universal one.
Sounds good.
So John, we just had a great boot camp, as we've talked about on the pod. We had 3 new agents come in. I thought they did a great job going through boot camp. They came out of it dialing like crazy, leading the team in activities. We're really pumped about them. And you are mentoring one of them. Can you share more about that and what you have been doing with your mentee?
Trying to get him to tag along to anything that I can. Inspections. I have an upcoming inspection on Friday I was going to try to bring him out to. I think Sunday I'm going to have a crazy day of showings. I'm going to try to get him in the truck with me, and oh no, we're just going to jump around from one to the other and see what the day is like. Buyer's appointments, and he comes to me asking some questions, so it seems to be pretty positive. And he was saying this morning that he has 2 potential buy-sells.
Yeah.
And, he's been with us, a month and a half, if that?
Not even.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, 3, but that's,
Out of the gate strong. I love it.
yeah.
No, that's good. I know, John. You've got some interest in exploring and expanding your reach in the commercial real estate space. What drew you to commercial real estate, and how do you feel about that so far?
I like getting into it. I have learned, just from the beginning of the year, I've learned a ton. And really looking forward to what else, because it's, every day I feel like I'm learning something a little bit more about it. What drew me in is with real estate, I like the emotional side of things. So it's I like working with my people and the excitement of helping them find a home And on the commercial side, like I'm getting some of that as well because it's typically smaller business owners that are expanding and able to grow. And it's that excitement of being able to find that new place in that next chapter in their career. But it's also the numbers aspect. I like numbers. I love my Excel spreadsheets, as I'm sure you do too.
Oh, yes.
So it's jumping into the numbers and really playing around with that. So I get to kind of satisfy that aspect of what I enjoy and that emotional excitement.
Awesome. And
Very cool.
You have some good success with it already, so we're excited for you.
Now, the important stuff, John. If you were 50 yards offshore, would you prefer to be 50 yards offshore and run into a shark, or would you prefer to be alone in the woods, run across a grizzly bear?
This crap again.
It's like a podcast rite of passage.
Is this like a version of the bear in the woods thing?
No, if you had a choice, if you were
Bear
either
or shark, John?
swimming off the Cape up in what's the town that's all a hot spot for the sharks up there?
Martha's Vineyard.
No, the
That's
beach
where they
up along
filmed
the.
Jaws.
I know that's where they filmed Jaws, but I'm
You
I'm
nerd.
There's a beach. Is it Wellfleet that has a ton of shark? It's a shark attack in Wellfleet, I think, right?
Sure.
Anyway, you're on the Cape, you're swimming in the ocean. It's a beautiful July day, and you run across a great white shark. Would you rather that happen, or you're hiking up in Alaska? Maybe you went on a little trip, and you're just up there in the woods. You turn a corner, and there's a massive grizzly bear staring you right in the face. Which one do you pick?
I would probably go with the bear.
Really?
Yes. Good choice.
I mean, get it over with quicker.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that.
That's a take we haven't heard before.
Yeah. I don't know if it would be quicker necessarily.
Shark Island over here. All right. Anyway, let's get rolling into the pod. How did I get off of the wrong?
What have we been doing?
I was on John's very
Thank you, John, for your interview.
sparse agenda here that he started to put together this morning.
Oh, you're on the wrong one.
I am. Now I'm shooting back to the right one. So there was big news in our industry yesterday. The clear cooperation policy debate has been going on for months with very strong takes on either side. And the rule, NAR, the National Association of Realtors, actually came down and had a a rule change that will need to be implemented by MLSs by September. Now, there's a lot that's still up in the air. MLSs will have to dictate different timelines in local rules and regulations, but we wanted to touch upon some of the rules, and we figured a good place to start is to talk about where the policy was and what this means for consumers, what it means for agents.
And what has it been?
Exactly. So this clear cooperation policy was adopted by the National Association in 2019. It was implemented in 2020. So the rule basically said that once you publicly market a listing, whether that's a yard sign, a social media post, a brokerage website, public site like Zillow, whatever, you have one business day to submit that listing to the MLS, which is good for the consumer, in my opinion. You know, they can see all of the active inventory. They know what's available, things along those lines. So that was the public marketing basically was anything that wasn't one-to-one communication. So, you know, if you had something off market or whatever, you could market that from a one-to-one perspective. I could let John Fracasso know, hey, I have something that might be coming to the market. If you have a client, let me know. That's one-to-one. That's fine. But again, once you start to market it to the masses, that's when you had to put it into MLS. So that's what the rule has been since 2020. Any thoughts on how that's played out, John, or just?
I think it's been. I didn't know you were done. Jesus.
I was looking at you.
Whoa!
That was
New
fun.
sound. New
That was
sound.
nice.
So the idea here was to ensure
This is why I
fairness.
never know when the guy's freaking done. It just keeps going and going and going.
Wanted to ensure fairness. Wanted to ensure transparency. It was to prevent, a plethora of pocket listings. Do you have any stance on the prior rule, the current rule, I should say, regarding clear cooperation?
I like it. I think it's been good. There are certainly differing opinions. There are some, call it challengers to that, who want it more, maybe they want to keep things close to the vest or more internal, offline, however you want to put it. So there are challenges. I like the old way that we've had, the CCP of the last few years. Curious to see how it shakes out, though, because there are those challengers and there are some changes coming.
Absolutely. So there is one prominent challenger to this. When without naming names and talking about other brokerages or things along those lines, but there's one certainly leading the charge, and they have some good points. You know, they definitely want to have a private listing network. They want exclusive marketing. They want to obviously provide these options, and I can see some circumstances where that makes sense. With that being said, I think 90 to 95% of the time, maybe more, it makes most sense to expose it to the widest audience. However, maybe a bad divorce situation, maybe a celebrity, an athlete, you know, who knows? Maybe it's a distress sale or something along those lines, or who knows? But there's a lot of different reasons why somebody might want to, you know, explore a private listing network. Exclusivity, you know, if somebody wants to offer something that not everybody has access to. There's a lot of different strategies out there as to why somebody may want to go that route. But I can't for the life of me truly believe that that is the main driver of this. I think more than anything, it's let's inflate our stock prices and double end as many deals as possible. You know, who knows? Again, there are circumstances, but follow the money. You know, it's typically where it is. So that's kind of my initial take.
Yeah, but not best for the consumer.
Most of the time,
as
not.
you said,
Most
as
of
you
the time.
said, there are those times where
Yes.
a consumer may want it, but the vast majority of the time, we always give sellers options, and it's in our presentation now to go over the various options that they have. But I find myself left and right saying to sellers or would-be sellers, here are your options. But if you want my opinion, I think what's best, hands down for you, is to go on the market, expose your listing to as many people as possible to get yourself the best price and terms. And I don't see that changing.
Yeah.
There will be the one-offs here and there, but for the most part, I think what will be in the seller's best interest is as much exposure as possible.
Yeah. And some of the biggest proponents of this are high-end luxury brokers, LA, things along those lines. The guys on the reality TV shows, you know, they want that exclusive opportunity where people have to come to them directly for these opportunities.
Correct.
I think in, you know, real life America, where we are, those cases are so few and far between, in my opinion. This is just my personal opinion.
Yeah, the cases where you're signing an NDA for a showing.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, I can see both sides. I'm not a staunch believer in either one. I do think there's a good reason to explore different options. But with that being said, if agents are transparent with their client, which I think is most important, most of the time, the high percentage of the time, it makes the most sense to put it out to the widest audience that you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Take anybody? John, what do you think?
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no. So I briefly read what you had posted the other day, yesterday about that, and just kind of skimmed through it. Initial reactions is, once again, I can see it good and bad. I just have cause for concern over the people that could be abusing that and not necessarily using it in the way that it's intended. And I feel like that is going to cause more problems than solving solutions with this happening.
Yep.
I was actually speaking to another agent who's with one of these brokerages who was really pushing to get rid of Clear Cooperation yesterday. And I have a lot of respect for this agent. And I said to him flat out, I'm like, listen, I know how you do business. I have a lot of respect for you. I'm sure you're being transparent with the consumer. You're letting them know the pros and the cons. And I'm all for that. But is everybody? You know, that's what I don't know. You know, that's where it really boils down to. So.
Strategy.
Oh, yeah.
Exciting.
Strategery.
Oh.
So
That's where being a smart consumer helps as well, right? Being educated.
Being a
sure.
Knowing
savvy
so you don't get
individual
taken
like
advantage
you,
of.
Nate.
and that's why they got to listen to Shootin The SHT.
That's right,
Real
baby.
banter with Nick and JT.
Hell yeah. Oh.
Like,
Isn't that
share,
nice?
subscribe. We'd love to know consumers' perspective on this, though, too. So please drop some comments. Let us know what you think regarding this news. So
Yeah,
the
comments
only-
that aren't roasting John.
Right.
for
The,
once.
please.
the only comments we've received lately was our friend saying that I am what's wrong with podcasting.
Say his
so
full
please
name. Say his full name.
comment. I honestly don't remember.
Pestilence the rapper.
Oh, he wasn't really worth my time
Did
to
you see
look
this,
into
John?
or remember.
Oh yeah, there was some texting between me and another agent in the office poking fun at JT.
What?
Wait, what happened? I couldn't
Whoa,
hear him
whoa,
too
whoa,
well. What did he
whoa,
say?
whoa, whoa. Go back. Go back.
There were texts between him and another agent in the office.
Saying what?
I'm poking fun at you.
I love the honesty.
For me being what's wrong with podcasting?
Oh yeah.
Why? Do you think I'm what's wrong with podcasting?
Oh no, I was quoting him. The person I was chatting with.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to bring them.
Why would you even ask?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what's wrong with podcasting right there. Is why you ask him.
He's not going to out his informant.
You're asking me to rat someone out? No.
Is this what you were whispering about yesterday?
No.
I think what we've learned here is John ain't no snitch, which is pretty badass. So
I feel targeted.
you got lit up by that guy.
You're not kidding. Apparently getting lit up by our own agents.
He's not gonna go to sleep for like a week and a
No,
half.
I'm not. It's going to haunt me to my core.
All right, so let's talk about the new policy. The multiple listing options for sellers policy is what the National Association of Realtors announced yesterday, March 25th. I'm sure this will be released like 3.5 weeks from now, but
Unbelievable.
the multiple listing options.
Unreal. See what I put up with?
Let's try that again. So the National Association of Realtors announced yesterday, March 25th, that they announced this new policy called the multiple listing options for sellers. It's essentially a concession, I believe, to the pressure on both sides for delayed marketing and more seller choice, while still protecting the spirit of cooperation and fair access through the multiple listing service.
Trying to find the
MLS.
happy medium.
They're trying.
Happy medium.
Switzerland.
Up in the middle.
So I think it's really the first domino to fall after this hotly debated topic over the last couple of years. Maybe it'll crack the door open for more changes here in the future. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure it will.
I'm sure they're trying to just make some peace. Who knows if this is just delaying the inevitable? But what are your thoughts, gentlemen, on the new policy? You want to talk about the new policy first, or let's do that? Let's do that, John. Tell me about the new delayed marketing exempt listing category that apparently is going to be released. Let's talk about that. What is that, John?
You're looking at Slick over there, but you're talking to me?
JT, I'm sorry. JT, what is the delayed marketing exempt listing category?
So basically sellers, and this is all new. It came out yesterday and we're still waiting for our local information, but sellers can instruct agents to delay the public marketing via IDX, which means the listing going out to Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com, those sorts of sites, other brokerages' websites, for a period set by their MLS. So we don't know what that time period will be here in Rhode Island yet. But the property is still visible to MLS participants. So anyone working with a realtor or anyone who has access to MLS. So that's a game changer for sellers who want control over the exposure, who they want to see it, how much exposure they want. Like you were just talking about, the luxury sellers, potentially people going through divorce or a sensitive situation where they don't want everyone to see it and they want more privacy.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to not accrue days on market in that scenario. It gives sellers maybe time to prep their home. But will it create an uneven playing field? Who knows? What do you think, John?
It could. I think it is also going to help emphasize the importance of having an agent on both sides of things.
It's a great take.
Absolutely.
So you want to see the house, you need to make sure that you have an agent doing the homework for you. And yeah, we're going to have to hustle a little bit more, but we're showing our value and putting in the work.
I saw an interesting take from 1000 Watt yesterday that this could be the death of IDX. Now, IDX stands for the Internet Data Exchange. And what that means is when I list a property, I select a yes on IDX. That listing of mine feeds out to all the different websites, Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, whatever portal that you might think of. Not only that, but also other agents' websites, things along those lines. And we all agreed at one point that the more exposure, the better. Now, in this case, this is basically not syndicating out through IDX and is only accessible through the MLS for a certain time period. Kind of like what we have now with the coming soon listing here locally, except now, again, we're waiting on our MLS. Who knows what kind of rule changes they will implement or what the regulations will be on these. But the way I understand this is that in this scenario, agents will have access to it. It won't feed out through the IDX system. Will it accrue days on market? Who knows yet? We don't know what our MLS will indicate on that. But beyond that, it's going to be only accessible to these agents during this time frame. So is it the end of IDX? Is it the end of the buyer's agent top value proposition being, hey, talk to me, I'll put you on property alerts and send you listings that you can get anywhere else in the world? What else are we going to do to provide value to buyers? Now, this is one way to obviously accomplish that, but the IDX property alerts only, that might be kind of on its deathbed. So,
I mean, that would be a win, being able to force agents to provide their value more and do more than just, hey, I'm going to set you up on property alerts. But overall, I don't think it's good for the consumer. I was kind of relieved when I saw the news came out yesterday because I had a little fear that maybe it was going away. And that would have been a major change. So I was kind of relieved to see that the current is in a way staying in place with some modifications.
Absolutely. Now, they also talk a lot about office exclusive listings. Well, I shouldn't say they talk a lot. They talked about or mentioned in the FAQ office exclusive listings versus delayed marketing listings. Now, office exclusive listings will remain off the MLS and public platforms entirely, only accessible to that office, brokerage, etc. So who knows how that's going to play out? That's more of the private listing network. Who knows what the rules will end up being here locally for office exclusive listings, if they're even allowed? Who knows? But certainly agents need to be able to clearly articulate the difference between these two different categories. Now, office exclusive listings is really what kind of scares me a little bit. Is I understand the exclusivity. I understand people going to that agent for that property in those luxury situations, the things we've touched upon. But what does that do to the independent brokerage? What does that do to smaller companies? What does that do to those scenarios where, we've already seen all these mergers and acquisitions over the last, couple of years? There's rumors of Berkshire Hathaway and Compass buying Berkshire Hathaway. Redfin was just purchased by Rocket Home Loans. So Red Rocket there, or what is that?
Red Rocket.
So it'll be interesting.
Who's Zillow going to buy?
Who knows? Is Zillow going to buy a
for that?
brokerage?
Christmas, everyone.
Seemed appropriate. I don't know.
So all of these mergers and acquisitions, I'm just, hypothesizing here. If this actually really takes off and there's more office exclusive and there's private listing networks and these companies keep coming together, is there basically going to be 4 or 5 players in the game? And it's hey, which one do you want to align with? And that's bad for the consumer, in my opinion. Because what that means
Big
is
time.
now I have to go to an agent in each of these 4 or 5 big conglomerates to access the market inventory that I can't access elsewhere. So I don't love it. But we can only play by the rules that were dealt, the cards that were dealt, So, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for sure.
Yeah, that I don't really see any chance of winning for the consumer.
No.
Sellers would get less exposure. Buyers would have limited access. Tell me how anyone
And
wins.
that's how a lot of other countries work. Like I know I've heard Realtor.com CEO Damien speak before about how really we've got an amazing system here. The multiple listing service system works.
It does.
And all these people are trying to attack it. Yet you go to Australia, where he's from, and it's completely different. It's like the only way to access listings is to go to a broker. They have to pay to get them on portals. It's an absolute nightmare.
It's like commercial, right?
Exactly. So, we have a great system. People are trying to tear it down. It worked for decades. I just don't understand, the attacks there. Obviously, there's a lot of different antitrust rules and the lawsuit that happened last year, all sorts of stuff like that. But for the consumer, it worked. It worked. Next, they mentioned the FAQ is one-on-one broker communication is officially exempt from the CCP requirements. So I can reach out to an agent, another brokerage, let them know I have an opportunity for this listing, and I don't have to put it into MLS within a day. But one-to-one communication. Once you go to multiple brokerages, that's the issue. So pocket listings certainly aren't dead, but they have to abide by this framework of well-networked brokers. So it does pay to work with brokers who have good relationships out in the field, know many other agents out in the field, as that could certainly come to be a different avenue to explore for potential opportunities for both buyers and to get your listing sold.
Yeah, you have a buyer, instead of saying, I'm going to set up property alerts, I'm going to call the agents I know.
Yeah.
Say, here's what I need.
Absolutely.
What do you know of?
Well, I suppose my question behind that is, then it's going to be more to follow. What are the parameters going to be? How are you going to be able to keep that enforceable?
I guess it all comes down to like the paper trail. Is it on social feeds? I think the rules and regulations are going to follow, and it's going to be interesting to see how those shake out. But is it email blasts to multiple brokerage social feeds? I'm guessing that those are probably going to be situations that would trigger the clear cooperation policy. But if I pick up the phone and call John Doe over at XYZ Realty, I think that's fine based on how I'm interpreting this. Just my opinion.
Yep.
So,
but still a lot to learn.
Excellent. I love when my wife texts me with the clown emoji, and she's so happy with me. So,
Oh no! Oh no!
Love it. So, as we talked about, the next point we had here on the agenda is each local MLS has autonomy regarding these and the ability to create their own rules on what the time period is for the delayed marketing windows. That'll be interesting to see what the statewide MLS indicates there. The next thing they mentioned, JT, was the disclosure requirement. So sellers must sign a document, according to NAR, acknowledging the delayed marketing strategy and the trade-offs regarding that strategy. So it protects the agent a little bit as long as they're going over it. But how many sellers really understand what they're signing? How many agents just send out that dot loop signature requests amidst dozens of documents, not dozens, but you get the point. Is many documents. Most sellers just clicking through as fast as they can, not reading the documents. Now we like to explain those and go over them and have our sellers understand what they're signing. But is that always the case?
I think that's important. It's better than nothing, but I think you're also absolutely right. It's similar to now when we have a coming soon listing. The sellers have to sign a document and we have to upload it into MLS saying that they understand it's not going to be available for showings. The full IDX is not in effect when it's in the coming soon. So they have to understand what it means that's about to happen. I think this is better than nothing. But to your point, how many are just going to be given the plan from their agent's mouth and then they're just going to click through, sign the documents and not really read them or understand?
Now tell me about the impact on buyers here, John.
It's going to be interesting because that could limit access. And John made a point earlier, you've made the point. You want to make sure you're working with a professional. You want to make sure you're working with someone who's plugged in, because it won't give you access to just sit on the couch on a Saturday night and scroll through Zillow and find every house you're looking for.
I think it's a double-edged sword. The transparency amongst agents is great, but you just hit the nail on the head. Talk about that frustration for buyers. I mean, you're not going to be able to scroll Zillow nonstop, and that's not a good thing, in my opinion.
No. Nope, you're not going to have access to all the homes available. It's going to give the buyers limited access, the sellers limited exposure, which is really negative for both in that scenario. There are outliers, but overall, I think the current way works.
For sure. Now, the agent value props are certainly going to be interesting here. It's going to add fuel to hiring the right agent. We already kind of hit upon that a little bit. But in a post-settlement world where buyers have to sign agreements, sellers will be asking, what are you doing for me that I can't do myself? This is kind of one answer. Maybe we can explore different marketing strategies and ways to, maximize their, ability to accomplish their goals, whatever they might be. So it's going to be very, very interesting on this broad industry shift that's coming here.
Adjust the marketing plan.
For sure.
New strategies.
Let's see. We got some other talking points here. They did.
So excited.
I think we've beaten this one up.
I think we
good.
have. I mean, they talk about virtual office websites. Time to dust off those virtual office websites. So I guess you can put them on there for brokerages who want to offer exclusive early access for clients. And again, just to recap, we don't have the official rules for MLS. We will let you know. We'll keep you posted. Stay tuned to Shootin The SHT for breaking real estate news.
That's right.
This would have been a great emergency podcast yesterday, wouldn't it, John?
It would have been. I was thinking it during the meeting this morning as well.
Nate would have been like, "What do you need an emergency podcast?
Podcast?
Who's gonna edit
Give
it?
me one example of what you would need an emergency podcast studio
We just
for.
go live. Just go live.
Yeah.
With what?
StreamYard.
You're gonna do that?
You're gonna do that.
Oh no.
You're the producer.
No, that's all you.
All right, now, John. Just to let you know, we do have a hard stop prior to 11 a.m. and we do have a call at 11.
All right, then let's blast through some common mistakes for sellers in the spring
Top mistake.
and get to the
Wild card?
Wild card.
thanks. Just
Yeah.
leave me hanging.
Yeah, no.
He's exactly what's wrong with podcasts.
You're not kidding. I should just resign.
Are you saying we're skipping the other segment and we're going straight to
no,
wild
no,
card?
no.
We're just gonna fire
Okay.
through.
Okay.
The most common mistake for sellers in the spring is waiting too long. It's waiting too long.
100%.
They want the green grass. They want the leaves on the trees. Talk to me about this past weekend. My God.
Flowers in full bloom.
I was putting in 14 to 16-hour days the last 3 days in a row, writing multiple offers nonstop, left and right. It's like, my God.
But you got to pick the hours, right?
I did. Yeah, it was the hours I was awake.
That was pretty good.
Yes. So commonly at this time of year, to your point, there were a ton of buyers out there,
Yes.
multiple offer situations. You're writing offers up left and right, banging your head against the wall because you don't want your clients to do all the crazy things that it might take to get that offer accepted. You're trying to protect them. Meanwhile, there are so many sellers out there missing out on this opportunity because the grass has to be a little greener, the flowers have to be in full bloom, the pool has to be uncovered.
Guess
No.
what happens in May? Every other listing hits the market.
all your
every other
competition.
one, all the competition, you are competing against that neighbor, that house 2 doors over, 2 streets over, whatever it might be.
2 doors
and
down.
buyer 2 doors down, 3 doors down.
Missed the opportunity. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But you're competing against that. You know what buyers think in that time frame? They're seeing new listings hit left and right, and they're like, "Oh, I can skip on this one. I can pass on this one because another one's going to hit the market 2 days from now, 3 days from now, this weekend, whatever it might be." So they're looking for that perfect scenario. Whereas right now, they've probably been looking for 3-4 months. They're frustrated. Like, what's going on? I'm not seeing as many new listings. They're jumping on it. They're aggressive. So certainly, a lot of sellers wait too long to list in the spring. In fact, Zillow says the best time to sell is in the second half of May, but Realtor.com says April 13th to 19th is set to offer the best market conditions for sellers.
Hot take right there. And you know what? If you're concerned about things not being green enough or in full bloom, your competition's in the same boat.
Same boat. What many sellers don't know is waiting for that best week to sell. They're already behind the 8 ball.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right phrase? Behind the 8 ball?
Yes.
Behind the ball? Okay.
Mhm.
All right, cool.
Good job.
Nailed it.
Good
Thanks,
job.
bud.
Got it.
So just thinking a little bit, you said Realtor.com was what dates were in April?
April 13th to 19th.
All right, so we're doing that challenge, yeah?
Bam! Bam!
Double the points right there if you get a house under contract in that time.
Boom!
Yeah.
Love it.
Talk to your fellow captains.
Why? Just do it.
John's just making a rule by himself.
you make the rules. I'm just throwing out ideas.
I like it. Let's see here. So data shows that those who delay beyond this time frame, or even really right now, risk getting lost in the flood of new listings, facing more competition, less exposure. To maximize price, minimize time on the market, and avoid price reductions, homeowners need to list before the competition increases.
Absolutely. And you're not going to make a phone call and go on the market tomorrow. You'd be doing yourself quite a disservice by not being properly prepared, having all that marketing ready, showing your home in its best light, perhaps some professional photos, some floor plans,
That kind of
maybe a
rolls
3D
into
tour by Nate over there.
3 ways to max out your sales price is the next topic on the agenda.
Oh, what timing. Tell us more.
So there's plenty of ways to squeeze value out of your home. Nate, what are some of those ways to squeeze value out of your home from the
boy.
non-realtor on the pod?
Yeah.
Well, you actually play a big part in this. So
Yeah.
The Rhode
Professional-
Island squeeze?
the Rhode Island squeeze.
Okay. I'm guessing you're gonna go the route of professional photos, 3D tour, floor plan,
Zillow showcase
Zillow
listing.
showcase.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice little slideshow there.
High
Yeah.
res photos, 3D
Interactive,
tours,
yeah.
interactive floor plans.
Mhm.
Yeah, believe that. They sell for
Hell
2%
yeah.
more. Extra $9,000 in your pocket.
But not in my
Believe
pocket, in their pocket.
Their pocket. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, no.
That's okay.
Imagine if
That's
that. It was
I mean, if I'll be living large.
Oh, I love it. Zillow also mentioned to highlight features that buyers want. Now, is that granite countertops? I can't stand how often I see granite countertops. Granite countertops were popular in 1997. Like, come on, maybe not that. Yeah, we're on the right.
Early 2000s.
Early
You can still
2000s.
put it in a description.
Yeah. Granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. Disgusting. So anyway, let's.
It's a hot take, huh? I'm trying to think.
Sorry,
Drag
every house
granite.
doesn't have
Yeah,
their
granite.
G Cafe.
I'm into quartzite. No, so Zillow
Oh,
mentioned
your quartz. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 camps usually. Well, then there's marble too. You could have marble countertops.
they're not very durable.
No.
So what
Yeah.
do they
Huh?
actually want?
They
Push block are
said,
nice. Yeah.
Certain phrases and certain topics maximize the sales price. In fact, they said buyers pay up to 3.1% more for certain backyard luxuries. If your home has any of these, shout them out in the description. Outdoor TVs, pizza ovens, outdoor showers, bluestone patios, all premium features that can add thousands to your selling price.
I like the pizza oven. I can't believe an outdoor TV adds almost $11,000.
Yes.
I'll go buy a TV and
That's
put it up
ridiculous.
tomorrow.
That's what Zillow says. If you have outdoor TV in your description, that adds about $10,749. That's a very, very specific number
Wild.
to the sales price. So I'm doing it. I'm having
Yeah,
an outdoor TV.
absolutely.
I'm doing it.
Let's
I'm
go.
doing it. Yeah. Don't stop me now.
All right, we gotta
well-
move on before he keeps singing.
All right, let's,
right on key.
let's jump into the wild card.
Wild card. I'm
All
not
right.
doing that.
I want to have John Fracasso answer first. Would you rather, John, have to fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses.
What happened to the bear?
This is a good one, huh, Nate?
I like this one. I'm a dum-dum, though. So.
One horse-sized duck.
Yeah.
Or 100 duck-sized horses.
Yes.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
I feel like I would take the 100 duck-sized horses.
Would you?
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, they're a lot smaller.
There's 100 of them, though.
That's how I feel.
They've got hooves. What's a duck gonna do? Peck me to death?
Yeah, if it's the size of a horse, yeah.
Like a goose. Like, figure mentality of a goose.
Ooh,
I'll
those
knock
are
that duck out.
I got chased by a goose once. It's frightening.
They're scary. They're
Right.
aggressive.
Yeah.
They
I got-
terrorize entire neighborhoods.
I got bit by a duck when I was a kid. I can't imagine if that thing was the size of a horse.
Got bit by a duck.
Yeah.
What happened?
I was trying to feed it bread and it bit me.
Scarred for life.
How often do you have flashbacks?
Not that often.
Okay, I don't believe you.
All right, so John's going with 100 duck-sized horses.
I'm with him.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
I just told you, if you take a duck the size of a horse, not only could it probably peck you to death, but it could put you in its beak and eat you.
I'm going with one horse-sized duck.
I am it.
Here's
Yeah.
the reason: they're soft as shit.
Yeah.
All right. Think about ducks. They're not hard, and they got big ass, flippers, floppers, and
Flippers, floppers. Yeah, but they have a nimble neck. Like you try to run under the duck, it's just gonna bend its.
I think
bend
I
its
could.
neck
I
and
think
get
I
you.
could run a horse-sized duck, and if I needed to take some body shots, I'm gonna score.
Ducks
So,
can fly.
it's true.
That's true. What's your point?
So he's not going to outrun it.
Probably not. No, he's certainly not going to outfly it.
I didn't. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I'm still going with one horse-sized duck.
Yeah, I'm also one horse-sized duck because I could beat that thing and tame it like Bucephalus and
You
ride
think
it
you can beat the
out of a duck. Yeah,
out of a duck the size of a
I don't
horse?
care how big it is.
Cut the curse words. It's a family podcast.
Oh, I apologize.
Shut up.
But I tame that bad boy like Bucephalus and then ride it
Oh,
it
yeah?
off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine having a duck it'd be like kind of like having a dragon except way less cool. And I could scare the hell out of you with it, so that would be a double. That'd be a bonus.
All right. Well, I love
Imagine
it.
me flying out your
He's
window with
sick.
like a flaming sword and riding a duck. You'd crap your pants. Hell yeah.
I don't think the second questions will live up to that one, but
That's all right.
All right, Nate, let's roll with you for a first answer on this next one.
All right.
Would you rather be stranded at sea on a raft for
Mhm.
3 days, or stuck in an elevator for 48 hours with a stranger who never stops talking?
Oh my god. Stranded at the ocean for how many days?
3 days.
I mean, you could die of dehydration. I guess. I mean, either way, if I'm in the elevator, do I have like water with me? Do I have food? Like, let's assume I'm going to like
I'm gonna
work.
say you have
My
a
backpack.
couple of Poland Springs in either
Okay.
scenario. You have
in either scenario.
You have one water bottle. You're one of the people who walk around the water bottle
liter?
all the time.
Yeah.
A liter. That's what you have
Okay. Oh.
in both scenarios. That's what you have. No food, just one water bottle.
Well, at sea, you could die of heat stroke or dehydration, but if you have water, you might be okay. In the elevator for 48 hours,
Yeah.
you could die of oxygen deprivation. And they wouldn't stop talking to me. I'd rather die, to be honest. I think I'd rather be at sea, alone on a raft. Sounds peaceful, honestly.
John?
100% out to sea.
Out to sea?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Work on my tan, not have to talk to someone.
Work on my tan.
So look at my skin.
So burnt and
I'd be in
blistered.
deep if I was out
We
at
both
sea
would
for
be,
3
yeah.
days. Yeah. I'd be in trouble if I was out at sea. My concern is if I survived the elevator, I'm getting hungry right now, so I'm picturing how hangry I would be if this stranger didn't stop talking. So I'd probably come out and go to jail for murder. So maybe the best odds are out at sea.
Okay. Now, Nate, would your answer change if it wasn't a stranger in the elevator and it was John? JT?
Then he's definitely going to sea.
That's That seals the deal right there.
I'm with you guys too. I'm going out to sea, so that's the consensus there. So definitely
Cool.
the duck question was better, but there's our hypotheticals for the week. JT, did you handle or did you watch any of the 3 movies that we recommended from the last
I
podcast?
thought that was for next episode. We should
No.
do every other.
No one said that.
All right, well we're punting that
It
to
took you
episode.
like 3 episodes just to give me the movies.
This is the Terminator,
Rocky,
Rocky, and
Raiders of the Lost
do you
Ark.
have any
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the
Do you have
Lost
any sounds over there we haven't heard yet?
Ark. Saving them.
For what? The next episode?
John has no patience.
Yeah.
He wants everything
Well,
now.
he has to wait.
And I want it now.
Yeah.
Was
I want it now.
Violet?
Yeah, from Willy Wonka.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Have you seen
All right.
Willy Wonka?
Have you watched Willy Wonka?
Yes, when I was a kid. Jesus Christ. Rate this pod.
I think this was a fantastic podcast.
Good one, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go 9.4.
9.4. Is that
9.
the highest rating
I
you
think
ever
it
had?
was. I think
You
it
got
was.
9.4?
I think it was good content. I think we had a great mix of shooting the SHT and real estate advice and takes on a trending topic, and we had John Fracasso here. So I mean, how could it get much better than
We
that?
I
did.
mean, come on, yeah. I'm gonna go at 9.2.
Yeah. You liked it, Nate? You were low on the last one. You were what, 7 something?
Yeah, I was low on the last one. This one I didn't get a chance to go off on tangents because we're on a time crunch, but still, it was good, informational, exactly what it should be. Boom.
John Fracasso, what do you rate it?
Sure, I'll put it, mid eights.
Mid-8s? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. The guest is the critic.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. John Tatro, JT.
I'll give
Everything that's wrong with podcasts.
I'll give it an 8-1.
8-1?
Yeah,
Was it because you got attacked? Was it the text message?
just a little bit.
Yeah? You got angry right there. You kind of shut down.
He got so mad.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. I thought this was a fantastic podcast, episode 20. 20 episodes in, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What is the percentage of podcasts that make it to 20 episodes?
Well, what was it? The percentage that made it to episode 3?
3?
Let's ask right now. Let's fire up the old chat GPT machine.
Wasn't it like about 10% or less than 10%?
Speak amongst yourself while I look this up.
Okay.
I think we're done.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh, Nate has to give the like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, everyone, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And thank you guys for watching. What is the percentage?
20%. Only about 20% of all pods make it to episode 20. So we're in the top 20% of
Damn,
podcasts.
son.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. All right, I'll give it a 9.5.
Boom.
And
Bam!
we are out.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Shootin the SHT. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. And if you enjoyed this content, please share it with others and leave us a rating and a review. Buying, selling, or want to connect with Nick and JT? Visit Slocum Home Team on Facebook and Instagram or slocumhometeam.com. We'll see you next time.
We didn't even mention Elsa was in the room the whole time.
No, she was quiet. I forgot she was over there.